Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Friday, January 3rd. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Cotton Bowl game against Texas is in 7 days. The game against Michigan in 330 days. All right. I'm sure every Ohio State fan is ready to move on from that Rose Bowl game and just talk about Texas, right? Okay, probably not. Probably one of the more entertaining, perhaps cathartic wins for Ohio State football in quite a while. So we're going to be letting you hear from some of the Buckeyes, also let you hear a little bit from Oregon coach Dan Lanning after the game. Let's start, though, with Ryan Day. Now, the last month for Ryan Day, it doesn't seem like it's probably been a whole lot of fun for him, but it seems like it's probably getting a little more fun at this point after thumping Tennessee and then thumping Oregon. So for Ryan Day, what has that last month been like for him, and how good did this win over Oregon make him feel?
In this game, there are ups and downs along the way, and when things are going good, you got to hug the guys you love the most, and when things aren't, you got to hug them even harder, and you just hang in there and you keep swinging. And I talked to these guys about it a couple weeks ago. That's life, and this team is resilient. And when you surround yourself with great people with great character, you find yourself working through difficult times. And at the end of the day, we wanted to win a national championship, and the way that we got here wasn't what we expected. It wasn't what we planned for, but nonetheless, we had an opportunity to come back and play Oregon after we'd already played them early in the season, and that's the only thing that mattered. And the guys have been doing a great job of staying focused. The staff has stuck together, but the players have stuck together, and they're fighting to continue to stay together because the winner gets to play together another week, the loser doesn't. So those guys have worked hard to stay together, and now we've got an opportunity to go play Texas, and a lot of football ahead of us.
The offensive MVP of the Rose Bowl was Jeremiah Smith. Not a lot of question who that was going to be. 7 catches, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. Just a reminder, still a true freshman. Not bad. So Ryan Day was asked how someone like Jeremiah Smith compares to some of the other great receivers that Ohio State has had over the years, like guys like Marvin Harrison Jr.
We always want to draw comparisons because that's what we do naturally. I think whether it's players or coaches, it's easy for everyone to say, well, he's this person, and not quite put him in a box, but sort of categorize them based on somebody who's come before. And Jeremiah is his own person. I think that the way that he's come in from the get-go, he had a look in his eye that he wanted to make an impact as a freshman. And I think his teammates would tell you the same thing. And he's earned the respect of the teammates, not because of his ability. You guys see his ability, but to me, it's the work ethic every day. And he comes in, he's serious. He doesn't say a whole lot. But when he does, people listen. And his maturity, physically, emotionally, and mentally has allowed him to play like this. And remember, he's a freshman. And so for him to be playing his best football late in the season speaks to his maturity.
Here's something that I'm sure everyone probably thought to themselves at some point, but didn't really want to say out loud. Was the loss to Michigan secretly maybe the best thing that could have happened to this year's Ohio State team to get them focused before the college football playoff?
I mean, it's hard for me to say something like that. But I know that, you're a sum of your experiences. And this team has had great wins this season. It's had some tough losses. And, we have learned from those. And you got to grow, and you got to build, and you got to make sure you're, focusing on your strengths and making sure that, you understand what your weaknesses are. And I think that's a big part of it. But ultimately, it comes down to our guys. And I just keep going back to that because these guys are resilient. And, we're at a place where, you can hear a lot of noise, but they didn't do that. And I'm very, very proud of our staff. I'm very, very proud of our players, but we're far from done.
Ryan Day has talked in recent weeks about wanting to play with a free and focused mindset. And boy, that sure looked free and focused in the Rose Bowl. Looked like a lot of fun as well. So what does that actually look like? What does free and focused look like in Ryan Day's mind?
I don't know. You can talk to the players about it. I think all year, you make adjustments along the way. But, we've really focused hard after the regular season on our execution. And I know that sounds really simple, but that's something that we talk a lot about in our walkthroughs and our meetings. It might be practices, it might be a walkthrough in a hotel, it might be a meeting, it might be just one little tip that could give you that little bit to say, hey man, this is going to help you execute this play on this situation. And then you also have to be, situationally aware, which I think as the season's gone on, we've done a better job of that. And then the last piece is doing your job. Everybody has to do their job. Like, you take, for instance, the route that Jeremiah ran on the play where he stuck his foot in the ground and went across the field. It was a perfectly run route, but the protection was there. The setup by Will of getting the whole defense to run one way looked like it was a naked, and then we came back and threw the ball. Like, there's so much that goes into that one specific play, and I think that we've really focused on that part of it. And I think it's the same thing with the defense. I think that they all understand how they fit in with each other, and then it comes down to execution. But then when you mix that with after the snap is then snap, the physicality and how hard we're playing right now. I think those two things are the reason why you're seeing us play this type of football.
There has been all sorts of narrative around Ryan Day over the last month, over the last couple years, really, including his record in big games. And a lot of that narrative has not been particularly positive for Day. So to win the last couple games the way they did, including a Rose Bowl win over the number one team in the nation, does Ryan Day take any personal pride in that?
Every game is big at Ohio State, and we know that when we came and when we decided to come to Ohio State, and certainly this game is huge for a lot of reasons. But I think the most important for our team is that we get a chance to play together for another week. To me, that's the most important thing. Every game here is important, and so when you lose, you've got to figure out how to move forward. But when you recruit great people with high character who care about each other, when you go through difficult times, you stick together. You don't splinter. And again, that's why whenever we're in these situations, I just fall back on these guys right here. I mean, I wish you guys were asking these guys questions because they're the ones on the field. These guys are the ones who are playing, not me. I'm just there to direct them and make sure that we're all going in the right direction. These are the guys who are the warriors who are doing it on the field. And I just can't say enough about these guys.
Next up, you're going to get to hear from defensive MVP Cody Simon and offensive MVP Jeremiah Smith. They were both asked the same questions. You're going to get these answers back to back. What was different from the first time the Buckeyes played Oregon until on New Year's Day in Pasadena?
Our defensive, that was obviously one of our letdown games for our defense. So one of the biggest things we changed was just our attitude and our mentality. There was a lot of plays in the first game and we weren't even aligned. We weren't ready to go. And with offense like that for Oregon, they thrive on that stuff. And for us, it was just that mentality that they changed. And we went through a lot of tough conversations after that game and a lot of changes we had to make. But I think we're better for it now. And we made those changes. And like Coach Day said, it's all about execution. No matter what. No matter who's across the ball, you have to do your job. And if you do your job, you're going to select the result.
After that game, we had a bad taste in our mouth. We just had to come in the next day and just, see what was the issues, fix the issues, and, get on the field and, work it. But offensively, we had to get the ball on the perimeter, take shots, and, just win our one-on-one matchups, and that's what we did today.
Behind every great wide receiver, there is a pretty darn good quarterback, and Jeremiah Smith definitely has that with Will Howard. So Jeremiah was asked, what does he do to make the offense run like it does?
Will does a great job in practice, just trusting us, throwing the ball out there. We just tell him, just throw it out there. We're going to make a play for it. It don't matter if it's a bad ball or not. We just got to make our quarterback look good. But, Will playing with that confidence that he have, just being a leader out there, I feed off his energy. A great guy. I love Will to death, and I'll do anything for him.
There were a ton of interesting storylines going into the Rose Bowl. Yes, it was a rematch. Yes, it was a revenge game for Ohio State. Also, the season was on the line for both of those teams. So Cody Simon was asked, how, as a team leader, do you help your team balance the emotions that are coming into that game with the need to also just be so precise and to execute so well in a game that important?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest part about football. It's a game about getting your body, mind, and spirit right. And I think Coach Day does a great job where he wants us to understand the moment and how the steps of each game goes. And it's not, we don't play that game a week ago, but we have to get our mind ready to be in that sense. And so obviously it was a lot of emotion, a lot of people call it about redemption, but for us it really is just about doing your job because our coach puts us in the right position, so we just got to go make the play, and they've done that so well this whole season. So we trust them 100%.
And Ryan Day was asked, with so much changing in college football these days, what does it mean to win the Rose Bowl, such a traditional game like that, and then to also know, hey, there's another game still coming.
We literally are taking it 1 week at a time, but we are, I keep saying it, we're fighting to keep this team together because we have a great group of guys together. And I think that we believe that when we're executing at a high level, that we can play with anybody in the country. And so we have a lot of respect for Oregon. We have a lot of respect for Coach Lanning and his staff and his players. I think they're a very, very good team and well coached. So we knew we had to be at our best today. And it'll be the same thing next week. When you're playing the playoffs, you're playing against very, very good teams. And so, we hold ourselves to a high standard. And so now we're going to have to get back. We're getting back on. We're not staying the night. We're getting back on that plane. We're headed back to Columbus. We'll get some rest, and then we'll focus on Texas.
It felt like the 34 part of the 34-0 first half score probably got a little more attention than the 0 did. But man, oh man, was the Ohio State defense dominant on New Year's Day against the Oregon Ducks. 8 sacks on the day. They held Oregon to negative yards in the rushing column. Did not see that one coming, I will confess. But one thing I did see coming was, boy, it might be another big game for Jack Sawyer. And yes, it was definitely another big game for Jack Sawyer. 2 more sacks for him. Just another dominant day for the whole defense. But Ryan Day, what does Jack Sawyer mean to the defense?
Yeah, I can't say enough about Jack as a leader, as a person. He really stands for what it means to be a Buckeye, and to see him playing at a high level, he's the heart and soul of the front. And Cody will tell you, just what he brings every day. He brings a hard hat and a lunch pail and goes to work. And it's showing late in the season. He's playing a lot of great football, and he's a big reason we won today.
And finally, I want to let you hear just a little bit from Dan Lanning. He was very gracious during his opening statement of his press conference. I'm going to let you hear a little bit from his conference, his thoughts on what went wrong for the Oregon Ducks in the Rose Bowl.
They clicked tonight. We didn't, and I didn't get our team prepared. And that's a great team. When you play a great team like Ohio State, you can't not be clicking on all cylinders. And they were clicking on all cylinders. We didn't really have the ability to stop them, and didn't have the ability to get something going for us on offense. And we haven't faced a lot of moments like that this year. It's an unbelievable team. Coach Day and his staff have done an unbelievable job there. Don't want to discredit what our players have been able to accomplish this year. We had a great team. We just ran into a great team tonight, and we didn't play our best. So credit to those guys. I'll say this about our team. There wasn't a second we stepped on the field where I felt like our guys were disheartened. They didn't want to give the effort to go out there and play. I just don't think we had a good enough plan as coaches, tonight, and we got to find ways to prepare ourselves for these moments, better as a coaching staff. But I love that team. I love that team in there. I love what those guys were able to accomplish. And what's tough is when you play great teams at the end of the season, somebody's not going to come out on top. And those guys came out on top tonight. Obviously that's a team I think that has the ability to go win it all. So proud of our guys. Certainly proud of this season. And disappointed in the night. If you're a competitor, there's no way you're not going to be disappointed in the result tonight.
Well, that'll do it for now, and that'll do it for our time in California. But oh boy, do we have more content coming for you. The upcoming trip to Texas for the Cotton Bowl, the game on the 10th of January. We'll have full coverage of that, starting with press conferences with Ryan Day coming up a little later on this week, and plus lots more. We'll have the usual breakdowns of offensive and defensive film with Ross Fulton. Lots of conversation around the team, lots of conversation around this game. Talked about the narratives. Hey, did you know that Texas's starting quarterback used to play quarterback for Ryan Day at Ohio State? That's a fun fact that you probably won't hear at all between now and the Cotton Bowl. We'll let you know that kind of stuff. But oh boy, is there going to be a lot to talk about as the Buckeyes, Texas Longhorns get ready to square off in the Cotton Bowl. We would love to talk about all of that with you at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That's where Tony, Kevin, and I cover the team. Mark covers recruiting. We got our whole team of X's and O's gurus there as well to make you a smarter football fan. That's all at BuckeyeHuddle.com and YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.